All right, what's up, everybody? We are back with another tournament final, which is going to be BR Legends. So, if you guys don't know what BR Legends is, it's actually a Brazilian-based tournament. It looks like it was started by Mr. Harry XD. And as always, if you guys want some more information on the tournament, link will be below in the description. But basically, this tournament was pretty interesting because it was a different format than usual. It was actually one team versus another in Team IQ versus Team TdU. A lot of you guys will probably know Team IQ floating around if you've been anywhere in the competitive scene as of late. They include players such as 4LW, Ian Noguera, Leo Zera, and Yang Zera. It's a lot of but if you guys haven't heard of TdU, that's because they just started about a week or two ago. And in this tournament, anyways, we have Hokage, Mateus, Reigeki, and my favorite, my dude, HotSoup. So as I mentioned, this was a different format. It was kind of a round robin. So all four players played all four players, and then it was cut to a top four. There was also a point system along the way to kind of see who is the overall best performing team. Maybe you didn't do well in Swiss, but you had one guy win out the tournament, just to kind of see who was the better overall team. So pretty cool action here. Some pretty neat decks to watch as well. And as we'll see in the finals here, though, it was a very quick, decisive 2-0 victory. So without further ado, let's get into the finals of the first ever BR Legends. It's so bad.
For Loco might be banned, but another thing that is also Loco is still going on, and that is this tournament.
Oh, I like it.
The transition. I think they are banning right now for the final HotSoup versus 4LW, and I think we are spectating from 4LW's perspective. Because
yeah, that works for me.
If I'm not mistaken, the Portuguese broadcast team is casting the HotSoup side of the matchup.
Yep. That they are. So we're going to go ahead and broadcast from 4LW. Like I said, it does seem like we have a lot of HotSoup fans in the chat. So probably ask who everybody's rooting for in a little bit here. And it does look like they're about to queue up into the first one. I like how the Kalista Lucian deck, he calls it Kalucian, which actually sounds quite good, like it was meant to be. So they're getting into the game though, so let's get into 4LW versus HotSoup for the finals.
Okay, and this is exactly the same matchup we just saw. It's Ashe Seju versus Deep. Let's see if the Ashe Seju deck can this time get the win.
Yeah, very curious to see if we could get the win this time around. It's again this Ashe, or sorry, so this is Ashe Sejuani. This is the mid range matchup. So honestly, we've seen this mid range matchup do very well, generally speaking, today. But this deep deck seemed to counter it very well. The game that we just saw in the semifinals. So if it does that again here, I got to give credit where credit's due to HotSoup on a good call for a deck choice.
Yeah, so last time I was saying that an early Maokai is super good, but we didn't even see an early Maokai on HotSoup's side. So he didn't even need the early Maokai. I think that's because this Ashe deck might be strong because you get huge boards, but the problem here is that Deep early on has a lot of blockers that are like not really big, but you don't really care about that because Noxus in this version doesn't really want the overwhelm package that you see in other Noxus decks. So some small champ blockers might just do the job to get you into the late game, and then you have Nautilus and a bunch of big sea creatures.
And it is so both of these players are actually playing Freljord and Noxus as like the mid-range Ashe deck. I'm trying to see kind of some of the differences here between the two of them. And looks like possibly, wait, Trifarian, Ice Veil. Oh, Avarosian Sentry. So it looks like, okay, so it's actually HotSoup that was playing the Captain Farron version, is that right?
I think HotSoup was playing a Captain Farron version. We did see a bunch of Captain Farron, so it might be that both are playing Captain Farron. I think only
They both
wasn't running Captain Farron.
Yes, actually, that's right. They both are. So the difference really in HotSoup's deck is looking like it's the Average Sentry that he's playing 3 of, whereas that is not found in 4LW's deck. So pretty cool to see both decks that have the Captain Farron in it doing well, though. And 4LW's does have the Shunpo, whereas HotSoup does not. See if we can get some Shunpo value this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be awkward for HotSoup to ever use that 4-1, especially because there are cards like the Potion and there are the Freezes.
Yep.
You're probably never gonna get like the good Challenger trade you want to get out of that.
Yeah, and even we already see it starting to get frozen by the Ashe. I think you're right. I mean, we see a Harsh Winds. We see the Brittle Steel. Brittle Steel is going to be a prime target for the Jaw Hunters coming up here. As we see this Dredger's probably chump block, or maybe not. Thorny Toad, very good to have early on in this matchup, I think, as 4LW is probably going to want to try to continue to be the aggressor in this matchup. So we'll see how quick HotSoup can get deep here, already starting off with his Dredgers.
Yeah, and HotSoup not throwing in his Dredgers there is basically getting himself a bit more value out of his Thorny Toad, because otherwise the Thorny Toad would have just tossed and not healed anything. So now he has another blocker for later on for maybe a more valuable or bigger unit, and gets it to heal out of the Thorny Toad.
And back over to HotSoup, and we see a Trifarian Assessor. Oh, that's not good. I mean, he's already has 2 5 attack units on the field. We see another Reckless Trifarian in hand. So if he really wanted to, he probably could develop another Reckless Trifarian. Looks like he is going to go ahead and just take the chance now at that Assessor and get 2 more draws in there. Recognizing that he, again, does need to be pretty aggressive right now in this matchup. And we'll see if he gets rewarded for it. We see another Jaw Hunters come down. And 4LW, unfortunately, cannot play the Harsh Winds this turn, but at least one of them... Oh, wait, he just drew another Brittle Steel. Never mind, he has 2 Brittle Steels. That feels really bad for HotSoup.
Yeah. So the good thing for HotSoup is that he had like 2 Dredgers. He already had a Thorny Toad. So he is getting deep. And... this time he isn't running out of resources, because basically if the Jaw Hunters, he is generating sea monsters in his hands, so he just needs a Nautilus, and he's probably going to get deep on turn 7.
Yeah, it's looking to be the case, which is very good, and this is one of the things I had mentioned when they did change Dredgers from 2 attack to 1 attack. It didn't really do anything for the overall strategy of the deep deck. When you get Dredgers early on, it just still feels good. I mean, to be able to toss 3 like that so early on turn 1 is amazing. And we're going to see right here if that is going to be the case, if he is able to go deep on turn 7, which will be huge right now against 4LW to stave off all this aggression that he has.
Yep, the leveled Ashe here is probably the win condition for 4LW, just to get through all this small stuff. Otherwise, his hand is looking like a bunch of spells, but what he really wants is like a Seju or like half-guard, big units basically. Because if he's attacking like this next turn, there might be a Nautilus and the board just might turn around. And you don't want your opponent to be on 17 health then.
Oh no, you need to be trying to get as much damage through as possible right now. I mean, he does have another Harsh Winds. I don't know how much it's going to help him here, because it just feels kind of bad that HotSoup still has 2 chump blockers there. So in retrospect, we were talking about him holding back the 1/1. Probably is doing a lot of work right now, because there's no real way for 4LW to get rid of him, and it just feels bad using a freeze on them. Obviously, I mean, you don't really care about doing that, but you can't push damage through if they do decide to block something.
Yeah, so basically that 1/1 now blocking instead of blocking before is saving him 2 more health, which is kind of crucial, because I think the last time HotSoup played against the Noxus Freya mid-range deck, he was on like 2 health when he won, or like 4 health. He was pretty low.
Oh, what did that say? 18. Oh, that sucks. You know he's got to have a jettison. There's no
usually
way.
you don't go for this if you don't have a jettison. And there's a jettison. Ooh, and it also means there might be Nautilus coming down next turn.
Yeah, I think HotSoup kind of drew the nuts here and he has the sea monsters. I think he's going to have the Nautilus. And, oh man, is this going to be really hard for 4LW here in a second. If he doesn't have the Nautilus, 4LW might still be in this, but it's still going to be tough. Hey, we have some 4LW fans in chat as well, so good to see. We have an equal representation here of some HotSoup fans and some 4LW fans. Gotta love me some HotSoup. Who doesn't like some HotSoup though? Let's be honest.
I mean,
like, come on.
Don't know. So I actually prefer like mildly hot soup or like warm soup.
Oh man, I don't know if it's like more of a creamy, like a baked potato or clam chowder. Then I'd probably like it a little bit more hot than usual. But yeah, like a chicken noodle, you don't really want that hot. You want it more warm than anything. So. But
yeah,
now that we've established our soup preferences, back to the game.
Okay, this is a strong attack for LW, and he basically needs this because he needs to have a bigger board than his opponent come the next turn, because next turn, if there's a Nautilus, this game might just turn around. The thing is, if there's only a Nautilus, because on turn 7 you can't play Nautilus and a bunch of sea monsters because you don't play LoR, then 4W might be able to push some damage through next turn.
Yeah, oh, and there it is. There is what we were worried about with the Nautilus coming down turn 7. That's the dream. It has been achieved, and this is going to be a long, hard road to victory if 4LW is going to go ahead and take this one home.
So yeah, he's hoping right now that there aren't any more Nautilus or the natural Riptides that he plays. And oh, okay, so that's a problem. So Jaw Hunters created one of the 4-drop sea monsters, which obviously can be played for 0 mana if you have Nautilus on board.
God, Sparkling, why didn't you think of that phrase before chat did? Hot soup facing the cold winter. Come on, man. That's what you're good at, man. Oh,
okay,
geez.
sorry. I was too lost in the movie references.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, and that's feels bad for LW. Not really much he can do here. It just, in case anybody wanted to see the card art of Elixir of Iron, here we have a beautiful cask of an elixir with some iron in it. Rough out there, eh?
Surely is. So, basically, this turn is it's just attacking, maybe taking some choice. No, okay. So this is a state in the game where if there isn't some crazy top deck from 4LW, HotSoup is just going to take this round. Obviously, even if HotSoup wins here, 4LW still has like 2 chances because this is a best of 3. So he is not out quite yet. He's taking some good trades here.
Yeah, this is a good harsh wins, but I'm not sure it's really going to be enough. Because eventually his board's still going to trade with Hot Soups. I mean, it really is going to depend, I guess, if Hot Soup has another sea monster. He's definitely going to need at least 1 more unit to play this turn.
Or another Nautilus, because there is a Culling Strike in 4W's hand.
Ah, that is a good point. God, you know, the amount of times that combo is just too good, man. Frostbite and Culling Strike, gotta love it. Anything that can kill a 13-13 unit. I think we are going to see that come down here in a second. And the I was just going to say the Shipwreck Hoarder would be perfect here, and that's exactly... I'm telling you, man, Hot Soup just absolutely drew the nuts here. It just Dredgers early on to be able to get deep fast, had the Jettison to play to counter the Elixir of Iron on that Ashe. Like, just so many good counters to everything that 4LW had, and going deep on turn 7 is just super backbreaking.
Vile Feast here, also
Jeez.
the perfect card.
Yeah, wow. Oh my god. Yeah. That's, yeah, you hate to see it, man.
Well, if you follow W at this point, you're just happy that there wasn't a missed call on Nautilus. Never mind, there's another Nautilus.
Okay. There's the, okay.
So, and, yeah. So this is round 1. I think we saw this matchup quite a bunch in this tournament, and it wasn't any surprise that Deep was kind of favorite here. So...
Yeah, I mean, that's what, like I was saying earlier, these Ashe mid-range decks have been doing work this entire tournament, and then now we've seen them up against deep decks, which we have not seen up until now, and all of a sudden it's the exact opposite. Deep is just absolutely trouncing on these mid-range decks.
I've been telling you, Moana was better than Frozen.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I do... Wait, better than the original Frozen or Frozen 2 now?
1 and 2.
1 and... I don't know, man. The original Frozen was pretty good.
Well, I've been forced to see this movie by my little sister so many times.
So you might be biased then because you've been forced to see it. That's like torture at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your vote counts. Come on.
Okay, so now we see basically a mirror match. I think both our players are running Farron, Captain Noxus, and in this case, 4LW's draw is okay, but definitely not what you want to have. You want to have an Olmhawk on 1 basically, followed by at least on 3 one of the Yeti generators, and then on 4 the Ashe. But it's just passing, okay? Both players aren't really drawing early units.
Somehow I smell a very interesting long game. I'm just kind of hoping this comes down to 2 Captain Farrons, 1 on each side, playing Decimates. I'll be so happy.
Well, in that case, HotSoup just made a really big move by playing that 5-1, getting a 5-1 through. Now the Ashe here for LW being able to attack. Okay, never mind, there's another freeze. I think it was really good that 4W kept the freeze in his hand. He could have used it last turn to basically save himself from 5 damage. Which just was about to say, but now he can use the Brittle Seal to protect his Ashe. But his Ashe just got...
Wow.
Yep, Cunning Strikes.
Yeah,
that's just it. You were talking about the last game. It's such a strong combo.
Yeah, and that honestly just feels really bad for 4LW to start off having that happen, losing his Ashe so early to that combo. I mean, and a Hearthguard, and there's really no good 5-drop response from 4LW. This is a really rough start. Sejuani will definitely help. Sejuani will help kind of ease this pain just a little bit. We'll see if it's enough to really get him back into this. But, I mean, HotSoup's sitting on 8 mana, so he's got a lot of options potentially to deal with the Sejuani.
Yeah, but you need to stabilize here. This is the turn. Basically, if this goes through and you kill the Hearthguard, you have enough freeze to survive another 2 turns. Oh, God. Okay, Sej on the other side is just really backbreaking. You kind of forced to use your Cutting Strike this turn.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something earlier when 4LW actually pulled up the menu and like hovered surrender. I think this opening hand, I don't know if he got a little tilted when he saw it, because it's just, I mean, Harsh Wind, Trifarian Assessor, Fury, and Reckoning. Like, what do you can't do anything with that early game. Not really many options for him in his opening hand, so I feel a little bit for 4LW right now.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes, though. That's card games for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens every once in a while. Like we were talking about consistency earlier, right? Like even yeah, as consistent as you can be in card games, sometimes you make it to something like the finals like this, and you just get wrecked by a really crappy hand, and there's just not anything you can do about it sometimes.
Yeah. Trifarian Assessor also on HotSoup side. Super strong card here, just refills his hand. You can survive this though, okay? So you have Harsh Winds in hand, you can stall. I don't know how you get back into the game, but I guess where there's a will, there's a way. Not always, though.
I mean, hey, anything's possible. I mean, there's always the chance, too, that HotSoup maybe makes a misplay, which leads to an opening for 4LW. I mean, with how we've seen HotSoup play this tournament so far, I have a feeling that's not going to happen. But, like we're saying, where there's a will, there's a way. If there's a way to win, we're going to try to cast it for you guys. So...
Okay, he's just going really wide, and 4W is just going to try to get as much blockers on board as he can. That feels bad. He basically has to play the Trifarian and just draw one card off of it.
No, he's opting not to, yeah.
Well, that might be the better player here. He just goes down to like a super low health total, saves himself some spell mana, maybe draws a 5 attack unit next turn so you can play a Trifarian for a bit more value.
Yeah, and even if the Glory Seeker... I'm sure if he blocks the 4/3, that's going to be 11 damage, so he ends up at 1 health. So he has to at least block that or the Glory Seeker. And, that actually... Well, now he's forced into playing something. Looks like he's going to opt for the Fury of the North here, which will give him better trades as a blocker, but... I don't know if he really wants to play that right now. You might want to save that for some sort of... I mean, again, he's in a situation where we're not really sure if he can win this game, but I feel like if he does, it involves him not playing Fury of the North just to prevent this from dying.
Well, then he has to play the Assassin. I think he just plays the Fury of the North. This was also something we were talking about, right? It's like the will to just take risks and to go for plays that other people wouldn't do.
Yep.
Not playing the Trifarian here is him going like a risky route, but basically maybe winning because of it. He's doing the winning play and not the losing play because he just doesn't want to lose more slowly. He wants to win.
Yeah, no, I got to agree with you. Maybe he's seeing something that he's just like, screw it. I mean, my mind is going towards... Maybe he wants to get as many draws off of this Assessor as possible just to see as many cards as possible. Because, I mean, theoretically, if you're drawing more cards, that's more potential options you have to win the game. And we do see a cap. Thank God we at least see the cap. Oh, he's surrendering. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you basically lose the game.
Wow. That feels bad.
2-0?
That was a swift 2-0. Holy bejesus, that was fast.
Yeah. HotSoup here with the hot RUNETERRA action actually pulling through like crazy. Really impressed by this player. So
yeah, definitely
a highlight of the tournament for me. Also, by the way, 4LW really well played. He's I think this was like only one of 2 best of 3s he's lost for the whole tournament.
Yeah, so, I mean, when we casted him all day, he played amazing. I think, honestly, what killed him there was that deep matchup, because we had seen 4LW play that mid-range Ashe matchup all day and do so well with it. And then he got to the deep matchup, and he just got completely steamrolled by it. Like, that deep just wrecks the mid-range matchup, and there wasn't really much you could do about it.
Yeah, and deep drew really well this time, although we've also seen HotSoup the game before win with Deep while not drawing that well. So maybe it's just a really clever tag for the tournament in his lineup, and it's really cool that he brought it.
All right, everybody, that's it. Do not forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel. Hit the like button if you enjoyed that competitive content. And huge shout out to Mr. Harry, as well as Remarkable Jam, the one and only, for hooking me up with this tournament in particular. It was an absolute blast to cast. The chat was awesome, and the community, the Brazilian community for Legends of Runeterra, is freaking amazing. I gotta say, you guys are awesome, and it is a hell of a community because God, is it growing. There's a whole ton of amazing Brazilian players. So definitely looking forward to casting this tournament again in the future. But until next time, as always, everybody stay healthy, stay positive. I hope it just works for you. Peace out.